Welcome everybody to another edition of the Reef podcast. I'm your host Luis IPA, bringing you an amazing interview here live on Twitch and Rio. Nightmare, it's been a whole month, my dude.
I know, man. I'm even in the new area.
You're in like the new era of podcasting because from what we heard is that you have your own office now temporarily, but there's a new one coming. I mean, we don't want to spoil anything to the viewers, but thank you for being my co-host all this time, my dude. Always appreciate you.
Oh, always, brother. And as you can see, the beard is coming back.
Slowly he's becoming
Coming back.
slowly crazy coming back. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a very peculiar streamer here with us by the name of AguaMyst. Ladies and gentlemen, please make her feel welcome. How you doing, Agua?
Hi, I'm good. How's everyone?
Oh my goodness. We're so happy to have you here finally after so many freaking years. You're finally made it to the podcast. How does it feel to be a VTuber here? I mean, I bet you feel
Oh my
awesome.
God. My plastic self is super excited.
The fact that this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually our first ever VTuber that we have in the podcast. So that's why I'm super hyped about this because props to Agua for being a VTuber. So
Thank you.
she's also a content creator on the platform Twitch, but I'm gonna give the mic to her so she can introduce herself and we can go from there. So Agua, you have the mic.
All right. Well, what do I say? My name is AguaMyst. Uh, I am a Funko Pop VTuber. I had to match the sunglasses with everyone because I want to be accepted. Um, I like streaming all different types of content. I am a variety streamer, but I do have like a variety of things that are involved with VR. I like horror. I like all different types of games. Like Lewis knows, I'll play some Fall Guys and Overcooked and other games like that. But I also have a passion for games like Demonologist and Phasmophobia. I also have been starting new content that is mostly related to betas. So yeah, early access content. Let's go. Let's explore more games.
That's awesome. I mean, we're actually really happy to have you here because I mean, I've been knowing you for quite a while. I know Nightmare's been knowing you for a little
Mhm.
bit and everything, but
Mhm.
I wanted to ask right away, like what made you want to come up with the name Agua Mist? Like, what's the meaning behind it?
AguaMyst is basically um, the first word I learned in Spanish.
Really?
Yeah, when I was because so my family is Puerto Rican, and but I consider myself a New Rican, which means I'm from New York and I'm Puerto Rican. So I'm like third generation in New York of my family from Puerto Rico, and they all speak Spanish except for me, but I do know a few like little words. So agua is the first word in Spanish that I learned, and then mist is one of the games that I thought was phenomenal, like the water graphics of its time. That's a game for the people who are born in the 80s may know what Mist is. um, but yeah, so that game was the first game that I saw that had really cool water graphics. And so I just put the two together.
That's awesome. So you mentioned that you play a lot of horror games. So what is like I what was like the first game, like the first horror game that you were like, oh my gosh, I'm so into this. Like this is actually one that I can actually repetitively play.
Repetitive. Okay, so I would say probably Demonologist because that game is like super creepy and they're always coming up with new content. So I really, really, really like that game. Plus, you can play it with other people, which I tend to gravitate more towards, multiplayer games. So I would say Demonologist. It's a little bit more extensive than like Phasmophobia, because Phasmophobia is like you're you're a ghost hunter and you're just trying to determine what the ghost is, and you have some side objectives. But demonologist takes it a step further. You have to exorcise the ghost as well as define what spirit is haunting the house, and that's even creepier, and they have way more jump scares. And then when you're playing with other people, it's cool. And there's cosmetics. So, like, you can change what your character looks like, wear different clothing. You have different lobbies, too. So, the more money you collect, the more lobbies you can get. So, it's way more extensive than any other game. So, I play that game quite often.
It seems like it's actually way more advanced than Phasmophobia, which is great. I mean, I would like to play it one day, but I mean, I'm a chicken head, so I mean, I would actually be terrified to actually play it.
Nah, we would have your back.
They say that, chat. They say that, ladies and gentlemen. They say that.
I'll say this, I am getting ready to get some of those games. I just got a VR headset not too long ago.
Hey, let's go.
That's awesome. All right.
I haven't
love
studied
VR.
anything with Agua, but I was going to sit there and reach out and play VR together.
All right.
Oh yeah, just let me know.
So, my buddy here, I'm gonna call him Kratos because he's getting to beat Kratos now. So Kratos is actually gonna ask you a question now because over here in the Reef podcast, what we do is we bounce back and forth between each other until we get to our funny out of nowhere what the fuck questions. So Nightmare, you have the mic.
Okay, so you mentioned enjoying horror games. Is it just video games that you enjoy the horror genre, or do you enjoy watching horror movies, stuff like that as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love it all. I very much gravitate towards ghost stories because I believe in actual spirits existing. So that creeps me out even more when there's a lot of paranormal stuff that goes on in movies. Like Paranormal Activity is probably the creepiest movie for me. And I love different types of ghost anime. So definitely love all things like ghost related. I don't really release that information too much. That's kind of a secret part of my life because I don't want everyone to know how weird I am.
Hey. I think
I'm gonna add something onto this. Hold on. Have you seen Ghost Adventures?
Ghost Adventures, you said?
Yes.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay. The reason I ask this for anybody who has seen it, I am within to give a rough area of where I moved. Within 30 minutes, I can get to the Saddamsville Rectory where they filmed that episode.
Oh, wow. That is really cool.
Man, that's awesome. All right, so I know we're trying to get to know a little bit about more about you, and you mentioned that you like horror stuff and everything. But how do you feel about if somebody actually was to tell you like, "Hey, Agua, we're going to a haunted house. Are you in?" Like if an actual IRL haunted house.
I've already done it.
Really? I've
already done it a few times.
But I mean, no, but I'm saying do you still get like the whole chill vibes, or do you feel like oh, this is awesome, like this is actually my.
So I'm a really small plastic figure, and with a spirit inside of me. So I definitely believe that ghosts exist.
I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Chucky. Then I'm pretty sure you and Chucky are friends.
Chucky and me, yeah, we don't really get along. I like Tiffany better. She's way cooler, but yeah, definitely. Hey, it's crazy. It is crazy. But yeah, when I've been invited to different horror, ghost houses and stuff like that, I have a tendency to push whoever is in front of me forward so that they can move forward faster and I could get the heck out of the house. 'Cause it
Oh
creeps
wow.
me out.
I feel like we should put her in the Mansfield Reformatories.
Oh my lord. All right. So what is your go-to drink when it comes to like like go-to drink that you can actually drink every day? I mean, we all drink water, I know, but I mean, for me, for example, I drink a lot of Fanta. I'm a big Fanta person. And then like also what is like your go-to meal when it comes to like eating like food?
So, oh, those are interesting questions. Well, as a Funko Pop figure, I don't really have to eat anything if I don't want to. Um, I do enjoy water though. It has to be filtered because, uh, I don't want to drink any of my relatives. But definitely, I love drinking water every day. Um, when I go outside though, like let's say I go to a restaurant or something, I usually like something a little bit sweeter, so I'll go for like a classic lemonade. But those are the only drinks that I'll drink. I don't drink tea, coffee, or sodas. I consider them all dirt water.
Mm-hmm. And,
Awesome.
and what about food? I'm pretty sure you're probably gonna say sushi.
Absolutely. Sushi is my number one favorite. I love sushi. I've tried all different types of sushi. I love sashimi specifically. Um, so yeah, I
Now,
love seafood.
now, when it comes to sushi, were you actually like just randomly said, "Oh, I want to try it just because," or did a friend actually said like, "Hey, we recommend you try this," and then you were like, "What is this?" and you were all confused. I mean, some people like they get introduced by friends like what sushi is, and at first they think they're not gonna like it, and then they taste it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it tastes so freaking good."
I was originally introduced to sushi when I went to Funko Pop University, and my other friend, that's also a Funko Pop figure, she introduced me to this little sushi called the tuna roll. And when I tried that, I was like, "Oh, this is delicious! I want to try more because there's so many different types." So yeah, that's how I first started trying out sushi.
That's awesome. All right, Nightmare, what you got?
Okay, before we get to my other question, do you count California rolls as sushi or no?
Oh, that's a
Oh
good.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, sushi
I
could
don't
be
count it as
anything.
sushi. I don't count it as sushi.
Well,
Especially with the fact it's so processed anymore.
that is true. I do consider it like a starter sushi. So the way that I categorize sushi is more like by level. So I say like California style sushi or cucumber sushi. Those are like level one for people who want to try it out for the first time. Then level two is with the actual fresh fish. So like tuna, salmon, stuff like that. Things that are typical. And then, then you can go to specialty rolls, which are special to the restaurant. And then if you really want to go out of the box, then you go into the sashimi and, uni and stuff like that. So that's how I categorize sushi.
Fair enough.
That's awesome. All right, so what made you wanna actually start streaming? Like, I mean, what made you wanna like hit that like button and be like, hey, what's going on right now, and like what is this? Like, how were you introduced to streaming, basically?
So there are a few things. I always played video games ever since I was a little kid. I started playing video games when I was like 6 years old. And I always got my friends involved in the games that I was playing. So, but back then, the internet really wasn't a thing. So when the internet did become a thing and Justin TV came out first, and then Twitch took it over. That's when I started learning about streaming, and I figured, well, I would like to see like what this would do. Like, would my friends be interested in watching me playing the games that I play? Because, I'm always working, and then when I go home, I'm always playing. So, um, so when I started doing that, all my friends started seeing, oh my gosh, you're playing this game? I didn't know you liked this style game. I think Diablo 3 was probably the first game that I ever streamed. And a lot of people didn't know that I liked that game. Everybody just assumed that I liked World of Warcraft, which I was also playing and very addicted to at the time. So, but yeah, so I started streaming Diablo 3, and then all of my friends started getting involved, and I was also pushed to like play it from my friends and family and show them what I was playing. So I would do recordings, and then I realized that it was just easier to do it live on Twitch. Another reason I did it is because like I'm very antisocial and shy. So I wanted to practice starting to become more social and interact with people in this type of environment, especially since like now my job is like 100% remote. And so I've learned to communicate better through streaming.
That's the same thing that happened to me. I mean, I basically started streaming. I mean, through a friend that I worked with. Like he basically was streaming, and I was like, "Hey, this looks really cool." But I mean, I used to be like you. I used to be super shy and everything. But when I started streaming, I started losing that shyness. I started losing that antisocial barrier that I had, and now basically I'm a talking parrot every time now. So, mm-hmm. All right, what you got, Nightmare?
Okay, so if streaming wasn't an option, what would be something you would still want to try to do?
If streaming wasn't an option, I'd probably do some YouTube videos or something like that. Um, One of my very, very first objectives was to start working for a gaming company, and I achieved that objective. So now my full-time job is with working with a gaming company, but uh, on the side, I still want to play my own games. And so I would probably make video tutorials or something related to the games that I play, because that's kind of what I do now. Is like I like to do a lot of first playthroughs with games that just came out or are about to come out. So that's definitely, I would still do that, but maybe not live stream. I'd probably just put the videos up on YouTube.
So basically, like you test games for a video game company. That's what you do.
That's not what I professionally do, but that's what I would do like as a hobby.
Mm, gotcha, gotcha. But I mean, you still like right now, like you work for a video game company, or
I actually work for a casino gaming company.
wow, interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So the point of this podcast that I also want to tell like the new people that have come in, like I see we have a couple people that are already here that we want to give a shout out to for being here. We got a Frozen Box mentioning that he dropped you a follow and he looked forward to actually seeing your content. So we appreciate Frozen
Thank
Box
you.
for doing that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, because the main goal of the podcast, in case like for those that are new here, is when we actually have our fellow content creators here, we like to promote them. We want to know what made them actually want to become streamers, and then we ask them a couple questions about streaming, a couple questions to get to know them, and then of course we have those funny questions that we always ask everybody, like no matter who it is. But I mean, that's the main reason why we do this. It's all about promoting the guests that we have. We never basically want to focus on like ourselves. We basically always focus our guests first, then our viewers, and then at the end ourselves, because that's the main goal of this, in case anybody want to know. All right, so you mentioned what you will do, like if Twitch will actually drop on the face of the earth, and then like you said you would do YouTube videos. But I mean, besides gaming, I mean, I know like it's a nice hobby and everything like that, but I mean, do you have any other separate hobbies that you do that you actually enjoy outside of streaming and gaming?
Oh yeah. I have a project problem. I have a tendency to make my own projects all the time. I definitely like, okay, so I was born an only child. My box was very, very lonely. And so I always had to create some sort of project for myself. So a lot of times my projects revolve around technology. So I like building computers. I like testing out Raspberry Pis and seeing what kind of things I can do with them. I like building servers, game servers. So a lot of stuff like that. VR headsets are another thing that I absolutely love. I've had about 10 different VR headsets. So I've played around with a lot of those type of things. And then outside of anything technical, I would say I love going to comic book conventions and anime conventions and costume conventions. Those are the three conventions I typically like going to. I love going to arcades, especially retro arcades, and going to theme parks. I also started getting last year I started getting into building dollhouses, mini dollhouses with electricity in them. So nothing like a little dollhouse that has like fairy lights on it. It's very
Mm,
cute.
that's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah. I when I was younger, I used to love sketching, so I used to draw. Um, I I love reading comic books also, and watching anime and reading manga. So all those type of things.
That's awesome. So you're saying that if you hear of a comic convention in the state of Louisiana, you would actually be like, ooh, Comic Con. Like you would
Yeah,
actually.
definitely.
Okay. Because I mean, I'm definitely gonna keep you updated with that because we have one that comes every year over here.
Oh yeah, let me know.
Yeah.
I
So
definitely want to go.
yeah, because I mean, usually like every year that I go, I mean, since my persona online is all about like being a shark and everything, I always go with a costume of a shark, and basically like I walk around with it, and they're like, oh shark shark, like they go like they get all funny because I mean you that's what you do at conventions, you basically go cosplay as something that you like. So I mean, basically like
Hmm.
it'll be fun like to actually hang out with other friends too, and like get to know more people. So Nightmare, what you got?
Okay. So, um, we talked about like Comic Con stuff like that. Is there anything you'd like to do away from technology and stuff like that, where you're by yourself just to unwind?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not a relaxed person. Um, I'm always doing something. The only time I relax is when I'm sleeping. So, but to unwind, I would say I do like gardening. I have a really good green thumb. And I do like baking. I love baking cookies, and I think Lewis might remember I like making empanadas.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I still have to try
so
them. I still have to try them one day.
yeah. So so I think like gardening, I don't really do like a huge garden or anything, but I do like growing vegetables and herbs and stuff for cooking. Um, Especially basil, like basil and tomatoes are my favorite things to grow. And then I'll use that for breakfast or making Italian food or something like that.
That's awesome. I mean, so basically, like you're basically a tree with so many branches of like different variety of things that you enjoy, which is amazing. I mean, you always want to
Yeah.
do something that you actually like. Hey, I like this. I want to do this, and then it's always good to experiment because you never know what you will actually like in person.
Yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right. So if this is actually a streaming related question. If
Okay.
actually you could actually choose between 100 concurrent viewers, like people that actually chat a lot, and 1,000 lurkers on your channel, what would be
Hmm.
the best thing for Agua?
I'd rather the lurkers. Because I'm not used to like having a whole bunch of people talking on my stream, and I like to, try to communicate individually with everyone who actually joins. So, um it would be very challenging for me to talk with 100 people simultaneously, than have like 1,000 lurkers. But then I would also worry that the lurkers are bots. So, so I think it depends, but like I would probably want the lurkers just to be like, hey, if you guys want to talk, feel free to, but I don't mind continuing playing the game.
Yeah, because a lot of people nowadays, like, they always worry about, like, who's watching and everything like that. And I try to tell and advise a lot of people, like, hey, I mean, you never know who's listening out there. So you talking to yourself is a practice that you're doing. And
Mhm.
whenever, like, you're talking, all of a sudden somebody can come in and actually get in your conversation and interact with you. and
Yeah.
and that's what it's all about, like, basically you enjoying your game, you having fun. And I mean, there could be like different things you could do, like it doesn't have to be a game. You can always do IRL blogs, like, if you walking around somewhere or things like that. I mean, people like a variety of things nowadays.
Yep.
All right, so let's see what I was gonna ask. All right, so do you hope to achieve, like, something with Twitch, or you consider it like a like something to pass the time, to like get to know people, like, do you hope to achieve anything with Twitch?
I think one day I would like to be partner, but for right now, I'd rather like play games and show them, what's out there. Because the gaming industry, all the games that are out there are so saturated with so many different games that I don't think people know all about what's going on. And so, like, whenever some indie developer comes out, usually it's hard for them to promote their content. So I like to show people like all of the indie games that are coming out and are available. Um, so that's really my main goal, is to share the knowledge and make friends, and maybe, have community nights with these people that want to join the stream or my Discord.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, we had a couple of indie game developers that we interviewed here in the podcast, and literally, like, everyone that we talk to shows us the passion that they have, and it's true. I mean, they're more passionate than most AAA companies out there for gaming. Like, we interviewed somebody that literally made their game by painting, if I'm not mistaken. Correct, Nightmare? We
Mhm.
basically talked to him, and you can tell the story too, Nightmare. I don't mind you talking about it too, because I know you enjoyed talking to our buddy from Australia. So I'll let you have the mic for
Oh
this
yeah,
one.
he actually hand painted every single level of the game, went through and put it all into the game, made sure it worked how he wanted it to work, and it took him years. I still play the game every chance I get. I've gone through. I'm getting ready to buy it for the youngest. The oldest has played it. Both of them enjoy the game, and it's all based off Monet. All
Ooh.
anybody who understands painting, it's all
Hmm.
based off Monet's life.
And that's one thing we enjoy about indie game developers, that they have so much passion. And it's not that many people that work on these games, and they still enjoy it, because I mean, they love showing like what the little work that they have, and they don't get as recognized as we want them to. And that's the main reason we love playing those, because I mean, like you, it's a small little company, but I mean, they basically put their heart out on it.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
love that. That sounds amazing. I would love to see that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'll definitely have to show you the game. I mean, it's really entertaining. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're actually going to go to our commercial break. We'll be back in less than a
Shout
minute.
out first. We do have the shout out.
Oh, okay.
We
So,
we do have the shout out for Heathen Streams for commenting on the last YouTube video.
mhm.
If you guys want to earn a shout out as well, feel free to comment on YouTube or any of our other platforms, and we'll pick one person and give them a shout out.
Absolutely. It's always good to, like, when we get people like to actually give us feedback, because we take positive and negative feedback. Like, if you tell us, like, hey, your mics were too low, or hey, I mean, I didn't like this and everything, we take it to heart. I mean, we basically say, okay, we'll fix it and we'll work on it, and that's just part of having a podcast here. But thank you again, Heaton, because Heaton Streams was actually part of our previous podcast that we did, and he was actually on his vehicle, on his phone, getting interviewed. So we've had a couple of people like talk like that, and it's pretty neat. I mean, we have a VTuber now with us. We had a person in the car. So I mean, we're expanding out there, guys, and little by little we're gonna have more. And before we go to commercial break, I know you mentioned Agua something about being a partner streamer. How in the world are you gonna get to the podium when you're an avatar?
Well, nowadays, like VTubers are really starting to hit big. They're getting more noticed. Um, Maybe I do plan on getting a new VTuber model soon. And maybe that'll help me boost my VTuber career a little bit more. So I will be evolving into something new. But that's kind of a secret.
Oh, you heard it here first, though. You heard it here first. All right.
But yeah.
So before we actually go to a commercial break, we do have a question from JR saying, how do you stay updated on the latest gaming trends and technology?
Oh, that's a good question. So basically, I have a lot of resources that I look at. I look at other websites. I look at other VTubers. Ilera is a good VTuber that I go to for VTuber news. So I keep watching her streams for that type of content. On Twitter, there's a lot of new news from different organizations. I'm also an affiliate with Keymailer, which they always give new keys to me every so often, so I can try out these indie games. I can also look at their libraries and see when they're going to be released. So usually I play games that are not released yet, and I'll request a key, and they'll look at my coverage history and see if I qualify, and then they'll give me a free key. So a lot of times I'll get keys that way. And I also look at different, like, just general gaming websites that are around. Also, Steam will have really good information about indie gamers. You can just look up their tag, and you can see like all the indie gaming companies that are out there to see what's available and what people are looking for. So I do a lot of research in all different areas.
Gotcha. There you have it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to our commercial break. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be back with more questions for Agua. All right, and we are back. So JR actually had a question before our commercial break. We apologize, JR, for not answering, but we have to take that commercial break. Brought to you by Nike, of course. He actually asked, what's the funniest thing that has happened on your stream while you're live?
Oh no.
I was actually gonna ask that too when I saw that. I was like, oh man, you take the question from me.
The funniest thing.
We always ask.
I mean, there's so many times when we have a lot of funny things. I would say my funniest moment would probably be when I was playing Mortuary Assistant, and I was told that the game was scary, but like I'm playing it and I'm like, I've played horror games before. This is nothing. So I'm playing it, and then all of a sudden, I got into a scene where I couldn't move, and this person started like warping into some, like her bones were breaking and stuff. And then I was like, oh, hell no, I want out of here. And then I went to run away, and then all of a sudden a ghost jumped in front of me, and I started screaming on stream. I swear my heart rate must have jumped up so high.
I mean,
but it was funny. It was really funny.
I mean, literally, like, when you play those kind of games, I mean, it's just like, I mean, sometimes like I noticed that some people have like a heart rate meter that shows like
Yes.
the heart rate. That's something I recommend for like your games like that, so people can see your heart rate and you're like, I mean,
Oh yeah. I actually recently put one up there.
oh Lord.
I do have one now.
I'll have a heart attack on stream.
Yeah. I might have to put a disclosure.
Oh my Lord, have mercy.
120 beats per minute is the highest that I naturally go. Anything above that, you might have to call 911 or Funko Pop.
You're gonna have to call Funko Pop so they can actually reconfigure you and be like, okay, we're gonna have to like
Yeah.
lower the heart rate. Oh my goodness. All right. So, are there any Twitch streamers out there that you used to look up to, like back in the day when you just started? Like you're like, hey, I like this person. I want to be like this person. Were there any role models out there for you when you started streaming?
Oh yeah. Definitely love watching you, Lewis. You're one of my role models.
Oh my God! Look at this. I did not expect this.
And then my other friend, Chris X Chad, he's really good at streaming. He was a partner for a little while. And then he kind of had a lull, but he introduced me to a lot of things. He'll answer a lot of my questions about technical things having to do with streams. And then also, I do love watching Ilera. That's more recently, because she is a VTuber that has kind of boosted in experience and has been doing really, really well. So I enjoy watching her, but for VTuber news and stuff like that. So I kind of look towards her to see like what direction I should be going and if I should follow that kind of, direction, because she is a VTuber. VTubing is a little bit more challenging to stream than a normal stream, because there's a lot more technical stuff involved with VTubing. So I look at her a lot because she talks about the news and upcoming things that are happening for VTubers and what we can, install on our streams and stuff like that, and what's most popular. So I learn a lot from her, and so I kind of consider her a mentor on the VTubing side. But Lewis, you and my friend Chris, you guys, you guys are killing it. So I love watching you guys, and I consider you guys kind of like my mentors.
Oh my Lord! Now she put me on the spotlight, chat. That's all I gotta say. But basically, like it's always good, and I appreciate you saying that. It really means a lot. Like when people say stuff like that. I mean, I take it to heart. But I mean, we all at the end of the day are working together to achieve the same goal, and that's one thing I love about content creating is that you meet so many amazing people that literally help you out, are so kind and generous, and they're like, hey, I'll help you develop your channel, I'll help you do this, and they're like passionate about what they do. And I learned a lot. From like different content creators. I mean, I met my co-host here. I mean, this guy's been around with me like for almost a year now, which is crazy. I mean, I never thought
just over a year now.
It's crazy. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I mean, my last previous co-host that I had, I mean, they were awesome. I really am forever thankful for my first one, because I mean, my first one is the one that basically was the founder of the podcast with me. So that guy, I mean, every year I always thank him. I'm like, hey, thank you for taking the time to actually be part of like this project, because if it wasn't for me and his idea to come up with this, I mean, we weren't like we it would be hard for me to start a podcast. But I mean, I did the research. I was like, you know what, okay, I know I have it on YouTube, I know how to do it on Twitch, but I mean, how do I expand it? How do I make it to reach other platforms? I started reading, I started studying. I was like, okay, this is what you do. And then now, I mean, it comes to the point that a lot of friends actually go out there and say like, hey Luis, I would like to know, like, how do you start a podcast? How do you, like, what topics do you talk about? Like, what do you use to, like, go on Spotify? What do you use this? And it's always a chain when it comes to, like, teaching people, because you teach those people, and then those people can teach other people that are coming up, and then, like, it just keeps on going and going. And that's one thing I love about content creating. But Nightmare, you probably more than likely have a question, so I'll let you have the mic now.
I do have one final question before our nice fun ones. With all the upcoming changes with Twitch, increases and sub prices, stuff like that, What's one thing you hope to see happen with Twitch for a change?
Um, that is a good question. I think that their collaboration tools could be a little bit better. I don't think that they're sophisticated enough right now. I think they're like, it would be really cool to see them do a little bit more on the collaboration side and see how like people can get into streaming together. Uh, so like, for example, like with VTubers specifically, we have to download a third party software in order for each of us to be shown on each other's screen. It's not always as easy as just, using Discord. So there are a couple of, advantages there that opportunities there that they can actually look at into doing. And I think also like integrating Twitch into VR would be really, really good, because that's also a hard thing to do. For people who want to stream VR, there are a lot of different types of software that we have to use in order for it to work. A lot of computers are not really capable of handling the pressure of all the softwares. Like when I run my streams, I'm running about 9 different types of software to run my VTuber model and all the other fun stuff that people can do. And I'm not even doing like what other people are doing that could be even more fun. And at some point, I want to switch over to another software so that I could have people throw sushi at me. But I think it would be nice to have a real integration on VR with Twitch, so that it would be easier to stream VR games and stuff like that, because I think VR is becoming a stronger medium, and that it would make it so much easier if Twitch was already integrated into VR. So I think those are some opportunities that they have that they should look at.
That's awesome. All right, so last question before we get to our funny out of nowhere questions.
Okay.
So you mentioned the BR implement. I mean, they did just release DJ streams, so that actually shows that they're slowly but surely implementing like new categories. So I mean, it's a matter of time, probably before VR gets implemented and more different ways. They're trying to find different ways to approach new people. That for example, the DJ thing, I haven't watched a stream yet, but I heard it's been very fun to watch actual DJs do that, incorporate that into their streams. So
oh yeah,
what I'm trying to say is little by little we'll see new changes and everything. But for me personally, I think what Twitch should do, if they want to actually help content creators, give them an incentive. Be hey, if you stream some certain amount of hours, you get paid this revenue. Because I mean, we're basically sitting ourselves creating content and stuff like that, taking the time of our day to do it. So I mean, it would be nice to get compensated for our time that we take to do that. I mean, it'll be great. It'll be great because I mean, we're basically sitting ourselves here, not going out there to do other things, and we're actually, it's almost like I mean, streaming is almost like a job, because I mean, you're basically out there showing a game, showing different things. So all right, so JR here has a question. He says, what's the hardest game you ever played? Sometimes you couldn't finish or even beat one level.
Cat Mario.
Oh,
He knows it.
Cat Mario.
Oh, we're talking about Mario now.
Cat Mario. So Cat Mario. So that game, so JR is actually the one who introduced me to that game, and well, that game is toxic. It's a browser game right now, and it's basically like classic Super Mario Brothers, but on crack. and you're a cat trying to go through the the objects, and they just don't want you to win because, like, for example, if you know where all the power-ups are and stuff like that when you play Super Mario Brothers, because that's a classic game. But now, if you play Cat Mario,
for most
yeah,
of us, it's a classic.
for most of it, yeah. So, when you go through it, like, let's say the very, very beginning, right? You know that there's like a question mark somewhere in there, and then you get a mushroom to get bigger. Well, if you click on that same box in Cat Mario, what happens is a bunch of ghosts come out of the box and start to kill you. So,
like Kaizo Mario.
Yeah, probably the same. And it's very, very fast. You can't slow down your speed. If you try to go down a pipe, it's insta death. So yeah, that's the hardest game.
The last time I saw that on your content, it was actually it reminded me a lot of Flappy Bird, because I used to play a lot of Flappy Bird back then, and my goodness, I would get so frustrated. I'll be like, dude, come on. I mean,
it is a lot like that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure all of us have played Flappy Bird, and we all raged at that stupid little bird that literally can't even get to the finish line.
Yep, I am terrible at that game. I am terrible at platformers in general. I mean, there's very few, but most of the time I can beat the first level, but not that.
Yeah, but basically,
I'm curious how people are that rage-inducing on platforms.
Yes.
I don't get it. Platformers are easy.
You say that.
I will give you the link to Cat Mario.
I will gladly do it.
You
when
say.
I go back live again, I will gladly stream it. Make sure to give you the biggest shout out and be like, here we go.
He says that.
I have.
Hey,
I have a chat redemption for it.
He says that right now. He says the platforms are easy, but when he gets to Pilot Wings, he gets lost. That's the thing.
I said platformers.
That is a platformer, though. That is a platformer. And every time we compete on that game, he's like, I'm not even gonna try. But I mean, I'm the same way with him. Like, if I play Mario, I get lost. He kicks my ass on Mario. Yeah. Those are actually, I mean, I enjoy those games. I try to beat them, like, quickly, but I mean, I try to enjoy them as much as possible because, I mean, those were my childhood. I used to play those a lot.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right, ladies and gents, we are gonna get to our fun part of the podcast where we ask random out of nowhere questions to our guests, and Agua is actually very familiar with these.
I have a pie for the snack.
Okay.
I have a pie for that.
He has the snack for that certain question that basically always intrigues people. So, question number 1: do you put pineapples on pizza? Yes or no?
That is blasphemy. I am from New York City, and that is a blasphemy statement or question.
So no?
That's a definite no.
All depending on the topic.
I am a pizza snob. Aside from loving sushi, I am a very big pizza snob, and there's only certain types of pizza that I will eat and tell you that are good.
So basically, you're trying to say that pineapples are an atrocity and they don't belong in pizza, right?
Absolutely. They're
But
blasphemy.
see, if that's the case, then salted caramel shouldn't exist.
Oh no, that's different because salted caramel is different. You're not putting a fruit on cheese. Like, I would not do that.
Sweet and savory is the point. Sweet and salty mixed together.
So here,
make a good topic.
Here's the thing. Like, if Gordon Ramsay is gonna say that it's blasphemy, so am I. And he has.
Shout out to Gordon Ramsay. We would love to have you here. Because that's somebody that I would actually be laughing the whole time, just because that dude would. I
He
mean,
would curse us all out.
he'll call us idiot sandwiches, like he always says.
Or donut.
He'll be the one to say get better scrub.
Yeah.
In Overcooked.
Speaking of overcooked, ladies and gentlemen, this person right here gives me the biggest headache on Overcooked. Her and her buddy JR give me the biggest headaches when it comes to Gordon Sharkey. Oh my!
I give you a headache. How
Yeah.
dare you? I try so hard.
Well, remember,
It's
I'm.
my fault you're an overachiever.
Well, in case for those new people that are here on the podcast that are here in the first one of many, I'm a very competitive person when it comes to games. Agua can actually testify that because when she sees me play those games, oh Lord, you have no idea. Like it's it gets bad. Yeah.
Yep, Sharky Ramsey or Gordon Sharkey.
Okay, Nightmare, what you got?
All right, pizza or wings? Which one would you go for first?
She already said pizza.
Pizza. I like wings though. I do love wings.
Boneless?
But pizza is first.
Boneless or boned?
Either. I like boned better, honestly, because I feel like boneless is like just a chicken nugget.
Yeah, I was going to say, the better question would be chicken wings or chicken nuggets.
Yeah, exactly. I like chicken nuggies, don't get me wrong, but I like it when the meat looks more fresh versus compressed, if that makes any sense.
It does make sense. Yeah. Okay, so would you rather be invisible or breathe underwater?
Breathe underwater.
Ooh, that's actually, man, most of the people were invisible, right, Nightmare, in the last couple of podcasts?
No, most of them's been breathe underwater. There's been a few invisible.
You sure? Because, I mean, the last couple of actually having invisible. And
Yeah, you've been invisible.
I'm not.
I just feel like being invisible is like an opening to voyeurism, and I'm not quite into that, so I would rather be able to breathe
But
underwater.
it's the ultimate troll move. Anything.
He already
Well,
said that if he could become invisible, he would sneak behind me and just go boo.
Every day. You didn't even know when it was coming.
See, that's a voyeuristic move. I think for me, it would be underwater because if there's ever a zombie invasion, I'll just swim with the fishies.
For me personally, I mean,
Okay, we're going to jump into my question with that one.
All right. So for me, the reason why I said about breathing underwater too is because I would love to explore the depths of the ocean. Because I mean, there's so much vast down there that it would be amazing to explore. But okay, Nightmare. Before you forget, I'm gonna let you go with your question.
Okay, what's the scarier thought? Flying sharks or tigers with the ability to breathe underwater?
I like big kitties, so I would say flying sharks.
Yeah. I mean, for a fact, I mean, if you see a flying shark, you could always say, "Hey, there's Lewis," and then if you see a lot, oh, there's his pack.
No, for me, I was thinking, I could always grab a fish and give it to the big kitty.
Yeah, that is true. Like, here, kitty, have a fish.
Here, kitty, you hungry? Here you go. Don't eat me, please.
That's interesting. All right. So, if you could actually be any celebrity out there, who you think you would actually be like, which celebrity, like, you think is actually more like your persona? That's what I'm trying to say.
Gal Gadot.
Really?
Yes. Because I like Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman was awesome.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And follow up to that, Ryan Reynolds or Hugh Jackman?
Mm, Ryan Reynolds.
Hey, let's go.
Has anybody seen the Jimmy Kimmel thing for Deadpool and Wolverine yet?
Not yet.
Go look it up on YouTube when we get done.
Okay.
Seriously, it's hilarious.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds in general is an amazing person to talk to because that guy is just so laid back. He's chill. I mean, same thing with Hugh. I mean, Hugh is actually really chill, like, down to earth. And we're trying our hardest to get both of them, like, or at least one of them to come over here and be like, dude, I already told Kratos here. I was like, dude, we have Ryan Reynolds here. I'm probably going to fanboy like crazy. I mean, that's gonna be like the only one that'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm going nuts. Same thing with Morgan Freeman. I love Morgan Freeman. He's such a down to earth person too. All right, what you got, Nightmare?
All right. Do you go camping, first off?
Yes.
Do you prefer camping in a tent or in like a camper or RV or cabin?
Tent.
Nightmare's like, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. But what about the mosquitoes?
Okay. So my family has a plot of land. They have like 8 acres of land. 10 altogether, but we don't always count the other 2. So we have about 10 acres of land total. So we use that for camping because I'm originally from New York City, and so we use that as a way to get away from technology and just kind of relax and do nature stuff. And like I said, if there's ever a zombie apocalypse, we're going to that campsite because we all know what to do to survive.
All right, so I got 2 more out of nowhere questions and then the final remarks. So how many more do you have, Nightmare? 1 or 2?
I've only got one more.
Okay. All right. So you're in the forest and there's no no weapons, no nothing like that, and you're going on your way home. There's 2 paths to your house. If you take the left path, you have to face 1 bear-sized goose. If you take the right path, you have to face 100 goose-sized bears. Which path would you choose?
The left side. It's hunting season. I'm gonna take a twig and kill them so I can have some dinner.
So you would actually go for the 100 goose-sized bears. That's
no. The other one. What's the other?
oh the one bear-sized goose.
The one bear-sized goose.
Yeah.
But how much dinner would a Funko Pop get out of that?
That is true.
Oh, I don't have a stomach, so it doesn't really matter. I can eat or not eat.
That's true. I mean, she'll eat it and she'll be like, oh, where did it go? I don't know where it's at. All right.
Remember, one of my best friends is Tiffany.
Oh, that's true.
She'll help me kill it.
Yeah. All right. What you got, Nightmare?
Okay, so we got to get the favorite Funko Pops answer here. Android or iPhone, which one is better?
Oh no.
Ooh.
This is a terrible question. They're both the same to me.
You have to choose one though.
I know, I'm not really biased. If I were in my past job, I would have to say Android, but I don't have to anymore, so I always go with iPhone.
Oh, Apple.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like Apple, but I mean, I see the benefit to both of them. And a lot of hackers will use like Android style phones, so it's really debatable, but I prefer Apple. I've been using it for a long time.
Gotcha. All right.
I like how she mentions hackers using Android. Well, I have to right next to me. Thank you so much for calling me out there.
I used to work for a company that educated professional security people. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. All right. Final question of the night. This is where Nightmare takes his little snack. All right. Do you eat cereal?
I'm opening this.
Yes.
All right. Do you pour your cereal first and then the milk, or do you pour the milk first and then the cereal?
Cereal first, milk second.
Okay, well, you're talking to somebody that basically puts the milk first and then the cereal.
I mean, to each their own. I mean, I don't like a whole lot of milk. I don't even drink milk anymore. But like if I want, it depends on what I want, because if it's gonna be like chocolate milk, then I might do the milk first. But if it's going to be like regular cereal, then I'll probably do the cereal first.
Gotcha. All right. So, final thing that I wanted to say, is there anyone out there that you would love to give a shout out to that's not here or is here, or anybody like that you want to give a shout out to? Please give them a shout out right now, so that way we can actually give them the proper applause.
Well, I definitely want to give a shout out to the people that are here. Thank you for joining. I love Fanatic and JR for coming, so I really appreciate that. I don't know if Chantress made it or not, but I know she's been really busy lately, but always give a shout out to Chantress because she's always helping me with my streams and just encouraging me to continue and keep going. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, we actually look forward to actually seeing you eventually at TwitchCon, because more than likely I'll try my hardest to be there next year for sure. And Nightmare is going to try his hardest as well to be there, so that way, we can actually try to do a podcast live from TwitchCon. It'll be really fun to have.
I will be. I have my my face already.
All right. So I want to personally thank everybody out there that has been listening to the podcast for all this almost 5 years. I mean, we're getting to the point that it's been 5 years. I mean, it's almost been 5 years, and I cannot express the gratitude that I have for everybody that has come out to listen to these. I mean, it's been an amazing journey so far. Podcasts are going to be more than likely starting a little later really soon, and the only reason why I say that, ladies and gents, is because I have a new job that actually takes time. Like, it takes like a lot of my time on Sundays. Sometimes I have off on Sundays, so those days it'll be like at the discretion of the guest. But whenever it comes to me working, it'll be a little difficult for me. So I'll probably more than likely will be doing the podcast at a later time. It just depends on when I work. But I want to personally thank my co-host here, Nightmare. I want to thank you, Agua, for being here today. It's been a pleasure. And I also want to thank all you devoted listeners that have been listening on YouTube, Spotify, iHeart Radio, Amazon Music, and all the platforms. You guys have been incredible with the support. We love your feedback. We love you guys listening to and downloading our podcast. Rating our podcast has been amazing. I appreciate everybody that rates it. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything. Any last thoughts, Nightmare?
I do want to give a huge shout out to our record keeper, not Enforce Viper, sorry, Emperor Arma, who I don't know if he got a hold of you, Louis, is actually on his way to Job Corps this week.
Woohoo!
So huge shout out, and
Also,
wish him the best luck there.
Yep, and I also want to give a personal big shout out to our editor, NickyD, for always taking the time to actually edit our podcast. So if you listen to this, NickyD, I know you're in the background somewhere listening out there. So shout out to you as well for being our amazing under contract editor that we have here in the podcast. And of course, shout out to our guests and viewers for being here. You guys are awesome. And we will be back next week. It'll probably more than likely be a little later than normal because I actually have to work that Sunday. So it'll be a little later. And it's going to be Cynical from what Nightmare tells me. And you want to give a little bit of information on Cynical real quick, Nightmare?
If you guys actually look him up on TikTok, he's known for his Dial-A-Vet series. Really cool Navy vet. Personally, I think he's one of the funniest people I've seen for veterans on TikTok. And yeah, looking forward to interviewing him next week.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much for the time, Agua. It has been a pleasure talking to a VTuber like yourself, and we look forward to actually having a future interview with you as well, because we love always like talking back to the person, seeing their progress, how they're doing on streaming, and seeing what's new in their life. So thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. And for those listeners out there, if you actually missed the podcast, don't you worry. It's going to be later available on the YouTube channel and all the platforms that you see on the bottom left. All right. So thank you so much, everybody, and we'll see y'all next time. As always, today's episode of the Reef podcast was streamed live on Twitch. If you could not make it to the live stream of the podcast, you can always listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and iHeart Radio. Thanks for listening. See you next time.